What's up, gamers, and welcome to another No Rest for the Wicked video. My name is Brian, if you happen to be new to the channel, and today I'm so excited to share with you guys new information about some hot fixes that just rolled out for No Rest for the Wicked, talk about my expectations and my impressions of this update, and ultimately get your thoughts. Y'all have put a bunch of comments in, and thank you guys so much. I thought those would be some really interesting discussion topics. And then finally, as we always like to do, is wrap up our videos with our message of hope. So let's get started. This is gonna be fun. I hopefully will not ramble on too long, but for those of you who have been subscribed, I do apologize. Sometimes it is what it is. Thomas is talking about in a quote tweet for Miss 5000 Watts, who says, okay, I knew this was a big update, but this is insane. They basically added a whole ass roguelike game to the already existing game. A whole new faction of enemies, a new vendor for leveling up your weapons, new areas, added in existing parts of the map. What the F, Lamo? And Thomas says, yes, we did. And I absolutely cannot tell you guys with like it is such a good update. Now, not that it's going to be for everybody, and we'll get to that in the community discussion portion of the video itself, but it really feels like the one more run. It really, that roguelike element that they bring in, that I literally played until like midnight last night, and I didn't intend to play to midnight last night, and that is the power of what they've done here in the Crucible. Anyway, it isn't about me and just yet. Let's focus in on what actually has happened. They say that they have rolled out a hot fix to address different issues. So echo costs have been rebalanced to be a little bit more affordable. I've seen this drop from 30 to 25, so it seems like everything is a little bit more affordable, which is kind of really nice. The echo heal, though, has been set to 100% heal. I really like this choice. Now, I was under the impression, or was hoping, that when you gather the traces, that it would actually heal you as you gather them. That is not the case. You can choose to use the traces to heal yourself up at 100%, and being that the whole runs don't drop loot, you're not doing treasure chests, you're not getting drops, there is this severe lack of kind of food, which I think is a part of the balance, and we'll talk a little bit more about that again in the community discussion. Anyway, they also fixed being stuck in transitions at the start of the end of cinematics for a short duration. They fixed losing resources you take out of your refineries if you had a full inventory. They fixed essentials missing graphic for builder projects. They fixed essentials showing the Rookery upgrade graphic and a description when all his projects have been completed. They fixed the time needed text to not appearing on Danos project screen. They fixed target skulls being visible when the last remaining enemies are in the camera view, and additional localization improvements, and they've updated the known issues. Guys, if you are enjoying this content, if you like ARPG content, and you like how I do things around here, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let me know if you do. I love to earn your sub, just like with Kristen, who says, you got my sub for me, just for your positive mental health message, dude. Keep up the positive and helpful vibe. Man, my brain failed me. Going, and hope that it catch up more on your videos. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy the videos, and I really do appreciate that people do stick around and they are getting so much about it. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the message of hope today as well. Now, it's not all good news. We are currently investigating issues and bugs. I actually reported one on the official forums, and now I am going to see if I can get some logs and more information from them. You might notice that occasionally you pick up a green, Gloam seed. I believe that's what I'm calling it, or that's what it's called, and your counter doesn't go up. So I've noticed it happen multiple times, so I went ahead and reported it. Looks like I am not alone. So that process is currently being investigated. It is not at the moment in the known issues, but hopefully we'll get that found and fixed, because nothing's more exciting when I see the green Gloam seed amongst all the different yellow traces. And then at the same time, I'm like, all right, let's get this progress, because if you guys aren't aware, it's going to take 130 just to open up all the upgrades for the Crucible. And that's not to say about going and spending the Gloam seed to be able to exalt your weapons and so much more. So they put in a lot of content, guys. It is going to take a lot of my hours, and I'm not complaining, because the one thing you will hopefully know about me is I love grindy games. Like, as a father of 6, it doesn't make sense And then I guess obviously that's just part of my weirdness, right? So it is just something that is enjoyable and fun for me to take part in. But let's jump into our community discussion. No worries for those of you who are like, are we going to be talking about what's going on? That's the message of hope. This is going to be what you guys have to say about this update, and then we'll jump into the message of hope. Mofi says, meh, focusing on supporting the end game while the main story isn't even done or multiplayer here, not helping, trust me. Dirt Rabbit follows it up, says, immediate problems and quick notes. Essential Store sells all crafting materials like then linen and silver. No loot drops in the Crucible, and this is baffling decision and not a good move in my opinion. Put in a lot of time into creating a more replayable system, but then they removed a huge part of what made it rewarding activity to replay. They also took away experience from it, so you're not leveling up while you're running in the Crucible. Personally speaking, I wouldn't mind if they brought back experience, because I do love XP, and whenever things don't reward me with XP, I kind of get tired of it. But we'll come back to that more in a second. Lord Hokage says, sorry if you already addressed this, but they found out that they changed it so you can't wear multiple rings of the same type. And then yes, so that is something that's actually impacted me as well. I wasn't really well aware of it, but I do think the balance ends up being a little bit differently. For example, I used to have 2 rune rings, which gave me roughly about 28% of a buff to my rune ability damage. Well, they don't stack anymore. You can't have 2 of the same kind. The game doesn't tell you, just as a heads up. You have to unequip the ring. If you try to equip a ring of the same type, then it will tell you that you can't do that, and it will prevent you. But I ended up getting a new ring that was already at 30%. So it was even already a little bit better. So I think that's just them trying to kind of balance out the builds with some kind of ebb and flow. So I'm actually not against it, because that does open up new slots to change up my build a little bit. Should I go with lifesteal? Should I go with thorns? Should I, what should I put in that slot? And being that the damage that I had that was going into 2 rings combined into 1, I'm not feeling like that was a personal nerf. But now let's go back to Dirt Rabbit's comment here, because talking about selling crafting materials and silver, you have to unlock that ability first and foremost, meaning multiple runs of the content. I right now have just recently unlocked both the exalting and the unique echoes that can show up, which is really freaking cool. So that's something that I kind of personally prioritized. So I haven't personally turned on the store just yet. I don't have an issue with them actually selling crafting materials and more, but it is kind of weird that there isn't any kind of treasure or kind of loot that you get. Now, here's the positive of it, thinking on a positive side, this actually saves me time. Before, my loot would fill up, I'd have to leave the Crucible, I'd have to go figure out my gear, and then I'd go back in. It seems like they've really engineered this to have that one more run mentality. Same thing with that, you can open up the ability for Essential to repair your gear. Right now, repairing gear is the only reason why I leave the multiple runs of it. So it does seem obviously engineered. I'm actually enjoying it, but if they did add in gear and loot, I would be perfectly fine with it. I wouldn't mind if it like opened up a chest every floor once you kill it, and then you get kind of a a little loot, like woohoo, something along those lines. Because right now I think the whole point of them taking that away is to put people also still back into the open world, so that way you don't end up having a misbalance, right? So you get gear from the open world, you get echoes and traces and exalt, and you can take that gear and exalt it through the Crucible, so kind of that ebb and flow. But time will tell. Personally speaking, it actually is making it way I can play much more faster, I guess. and then ultimately I'm enjoying it in the long run. And then with Mofi, with their comment talking about, like there are definitely people who are looking for more story, more zones, and all of that. We know that is coming. We know multiplayer is coming. And as soon as we know that information, I'll be sure to give it guys to you, so you know what to expect and when to expect it. So it's just a function of time here at this point. Now let's wrap up with our message of hope. Guys, thank you so much if you made it all the way into the video. If you don't want to stick around, I get it. Thanks so much for being here. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But for those of you who are sticking around, No Wrong Art says, thank you so much for talking about depression. I really needed to hear that. And this is important to me because I think it's important for me to tell you that you're important to me. I need men to be strong, and I say men because I know the vast majority of you guys are men. That's just what the analytics show. But shout out to the ladies. I'm really glad you're here. but I need you to be strong. And this doesn't mean that I need you to be cruel. I think a lot of people, especially online, like to associate masculinity in a negative way. And I think it isn't that. I think when you actually look at masculinity in its purest form, it is a good thing, and the world in and of itself needs it. So I need you to be strong, and it really is kind of more for selfish reasons. This could just be my craziness, my weirdness, but I do see a lot of suffering and a lot of problems in the world that I think that if men were strong, if you and I were strong and encouraging each other, a brotherhood, if you will, that is in and of itself going to be one of the things that can really help mend some of these problems. It's not going to fix them all because we are all broken. To a degree. I know I am, right? And I think that's always important for me to remind you guys of that. I think comparison is the thief of joy, and social media has that problem. And as I see my subscriber numbers grow, I know that there's those out there that wish they had this platform that you guys have given me. And it's true, you have given me a platform. And it's important for me to make sure that I respect that and I use that for what I want to see done in the world. And I want people to be good, and I want people to forgive themselves and to love themselves because they are worthy of love. You are worthy of love and being loved. You just got to believe it. And one of the things I see, and this is obviously, I'm a very deeply religious person. I really wanted to be a priest. I went to seminary for a little bit and was told that no, God isn't calling me to the priesthood. Okay. Great. What I want to communicate to you, though, is that just because that your brain is telling you that you're not loved or that you're alone or all these different things, it isn't true. And this is one of the things that, from a religious perspective, the devil loves to convince you guys of. It's a bold-faced lie. And so I choose to use this platform, which, guys, you have given me, to encourage and remind you that life is worth living and it can always get better. Sometimes life getting better actually means that it's going to be hard for a little while. But you were made for the world to be hard. You might not believe that just yet. So my goal is to tell you the truth, and so that you can stop lying to yourself and do the thing that you were made to do. And it can start off with the simplest changes in your life. Asking for help, especially if you are in a very dark place. There's not any weakness. There is not shame in doing that. Do whatever it takes to survive, because I need you on the team here. I want you to be the best version of yourself. I want me to be the best version of myself. And so I continue to share my struggles and my journey with you in hopes that instead of comparison being the thief of joy, it becomes iron sharpens iron, and you and I can help make this world a better place for men, women, children, all of it. But it starts with a choice, right? It starts with choosing not to lie to yourself. And then it starts with setting yourself up with some victories. I find, for me personally, I don't know if this is going to work for you, but I use cognitive behavioral therapy. Highly recommend that. I also use a lot of prayer time that helps out me. Working out, huge in my mental health. You will not, I cannot express to you enough, at least in my DNA, how much working out impacts my mental health. And that could be something as simple as walking. You don't have to do things you hate doing as part of your workout. Find something you like to do physical, getting some fresh air or what have you. Do it, moving some heavy weights if that's something you enjoy. Whatever it is, do it. And it's going to, I think, be something you can find very enjoyable. But the other thing is setting goals. I think, especially men, we rise to the challenge. We love being a challenge. In fact, when we don't have a challenge, we can kind of, I know when I kind of get lost sometimes in that regards. I'm like, oh, what am I doing? So I challenge you, make your dadgum bed, take a dadgum shower, brush your teeth, do something so simple and easy that you get a win. And you'll find that it is almost like a domino effect, a boulder rolling down the hill. You can do so many great things. And if you build up the strength just due to the small things and use those small things as just momentum, you're going to be amazed at what you can accomplish in this world. You can be amazed what you can accomplish just in a year alone. I encourage you guys. I love you and I want you to win and succeed. And if you ever have doubts or if you're ever struggling, the Discord is always open. My DMs are always open. All I ask is that just note that I might not reply right away. I get busy with the kids, and obviously my family is my highest priority when it comes to all of this. And this is also a big part. This, when I say this is a little part of selfishness, is I know I'm not going to be here forever. but these words might. And my kids or my grandkids, they might be listening to these videos for whatever reason. If they are, thank y'all. Love you guys. And I want them to know that same message as well. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for your time. I really am glad that, you know, I was able to share that information with you. I'm really excited about the future of No Rest for the Wicked. And obviously we'll keep making content here on the channel. And I wish you guys all the absolute very best for the channel. My name is Brian. Thank you for watching and listening, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. But until then, take care.